funny when you add a little bit of money to a sport and you give some girls attention, what they can do with it. I think everyone should take a page out of our book and really put some more time and effort into women's everything.
Welcome to Breaking the Glass Hockey Podcast. We're talking women's hockey from the PWHL to the NCAA. We'll be talking with players, builders, coaches, and fans who have made this great game what it is today. It's time to educate, empower, and elevate. Let's go!
Welcome back.
Let's go.
Breaking the Glass Hockey Podcast. We are at episode 32 and a little peek behind the curtain, something I realized I needed to do. During the intro, must have checked 3 times on what number episode we were. I need to write it down on my sheet because I clearly have the memory of a goldfish and I can't remember the number 32.
Listen,
but anyways, we're back. We're here.
That is not part of the, that's such a minor problem to have when you think about my audio problems, right?
Yeah. Linda, for those listening at home, Linda's still battling audio, and Nicole's going to be thrilled to hear this.
I'm just going to put this here. Look, I'm going to put this beautiful thing in the background behind me. Like, hey, I do podcasts, but I don't use the mic. I did 3 tests, 3 recordings. It all sounded great. Got on, and Brownie said I sound like I'm talking through popcorn.
Through popcorn. Sound like you're eating popcorn. But hey, that's a great paperweight you got there. But we're here today to talk about the best time of year. Linda is a former NCAA player and coach. You can attest. We are in the midst of the regional playoffs with everybody looking ahead towards the big ticket, right? That's what it's all about. You want to win your deal, but then you want to go to where's the State College, right? PA? Isn't that where? Yeah, the Frozen Four.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are. So when you're hearing this, which will be released on Tuesday sometime, there'll be teams playing tonight. As you're listening, there'll be teams playing almost every night, right? All the way through the weekend, there'll be games.
Yeah.
You might not be able to watch them all, but they're playing. You can follow along on Twitter, but
well, depends on how your ESPN app works out for you.
We'll get to that. We will get to that. That's a little that's called foreshadowing. But let's jump in the mea culpas. Listen, our friend Lily Jovetic is out there in Sweden getting it done, and I wanted to give her true props. She's playing for Leksando, I think is how you say it, in SDHL. And all of a sudden, Yovo goes overseas, and all of a sudden she's a sniper, 6-19 and 25 points in 11 games played. And also uncharacteristic for her, she only has 8 penalty minutes. So she has changed her whole game overseas. So good on Yovo. I'm happy that she's doing well. I saw some of her Instagram stuff. She looks like she's having a good time. And I also wanted to mention that with the Olympic clips, for those that listened, heard the clips, for those that watched, they were mysteriously disappeared because we could not put up our video. This is my fault. I should have known this, but how would I know? NBC is so territorial. You can't put up any clip that has any of their video in it. So for those that watched that episode, I apologize. That's on me. We can try to figure out ways around it going forward. We have 4 years to figure it out.
It's a YouTube thing, right? Like
YouTube would not put it up because NBC is so litigious.
Because everybody reposts everything when they see it. So I mean,
there's ways around it. Like you can screen record and then it's not it. So I had the actual feed, I think, was the problem, but whatever. Live and learn, man. That's it. All right, let's jump in. NCAA, they announced the finalists for the 2026 Hockey Humanitarian Award. Kara Goulding from Boston College, Grace Sedura from Michigan Duluth.
Good friend of MK. Good friend
of MK. Yes,
there.
That's right.
Yep.
Meg Simon from Middlebury. Jaden Sisson, I'm going to go with, from Princeton. Then Ryan Tattle at UConn. Was this award around when you were coaching?
Yeah. I actually had, there's been several Northeastern players who have won it, and I was able to go down in DC when the men's Frozen Four was in DC. Was able to go down, and my player at the time, Missy Alumba, Minnesota native, won the Hockey Humanitarian, and Brad Thiessen won the Hobie.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it was just such a great experience. But yeah, it's cool.
I just want to give them their shine. That's a little bit outside of the leagues, but it seems like it goes all across all.
Do you want to know what's funny? Is I just said Thiessen because I was thinking of Corey Teesey from the curling Olympics.
Oh, yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
woman got, so just.
All right, WCHA. They play Thursday. Minnesota State at Wisconsin at 4, and then Minnesota at Ohio State at 7:30. Sorry, see how they're nicely spaced out, so you can watch both games. The first team All-Star. Minnesota, Abby Murphy. Ohio, Joy Dunn. Wisconsin, Lacey Eden. Wisconsin, KK Harvey. Ohio, Emma Peschel. And Minnesota Duluth, Eve Gascon. Gascon was also named goaltending champ of the league for the first time in her career with a .943 save percentage, 1.89 goals against, and almost 775 saves. I would
Bummer
have
for
to say,
UMD. Bummer
how
for UMD.
hard would it be to pick that first team All-Star in that league?
Oh, I know. I mean, all Olympians for the most part.
And there was a lot of Olympians that didn't make the cut.
The depth of that league is incredible. But it's a bummer for UMD to have been upset by Mankato. I mean, good for their league, getting some new fresh blood in there.
Parity.
Personally, I like to see my girl Laura Schuler's team in it anytime I can, and with the possibility of a meetup somewhere. But that was just that kind of actually, we'll get to it about the playoff formats, but there's something to be said for that too, playing 2 out of 3, right?
Yeah, for sure. Over in the AHA, they play Saturday at 2 p.m. their championship game. Number 2 Mercyhurst at number 1 Penn State. This is for the 4th consecutive year. How tired are these two of each other at the final game at this point?
Who was it before that 4th year? It was RIT or somebody that kind of squeaked in. I think RIT has, come on, Brownie. You should have it all. I stumped you. No, really, you guys, this sheet is like you have a future in, I don't know, editorial something or other.
I like to be over-prepared.
Yeah. I mean, here's what I'll say, okay? And I don't mean it to sound, I'd rather be their strongest teams. Yes, anybody can win, but they're taking an auto bid. Right.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're looking at it one step past the championship.
Yeah, and I want that parity, and I want Lindenwood to make the NCAAs, or it's not that I don't want to see that, but you do see that happen, and then you just see it's a mismatch.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. I just feel like it's better for the tournament bracket to have it be one of those two teams. And that's no knock to Syracuse or Lindenwood. I'm kind of talking.
No, I get you.
But let me
ask you this from the other side of it. What's it called? The NPI, right? That's what it's called?
Yeah. Yep.
Is that something that needs to be looked at from the NPI side, and maybe they should put more weight into the leagues and the schedules in the rankings?
No,
I'm just playing devil's advocate. I have no idea.
God, I don't know I could never explain the NPI. I think I've read an explanation. It was even hard to read. But the only thing I will say for that scenario as well, same with Northeastern in the WCHA. I mean, you definitely want Minnesota or, well, any of those top 3 teams, is that, Penn State wins. It's an opportunity for a team who's 7 or 8 or 9 to get in, because when those high seeds that are already in the top 5, because they only seed 5 and then they match up the rest of them. Yep. So when it's an opportunity for a team, 7+ ish, maybe, to get in, because, Minnesota takes WCHA. So the high seed takes the auto bid. Penn State wins. Where are they at? 4 right now?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
So yeah, they take the auto bid, and that's a good situation for, I'd have to look at the rankings to see where everybody is, but yeah.
All right. So the way this all worked out, it was Mercyhurst beat Lindenwood to get in. to the final. Penn State beat Syracuse to get in. Lindenwood notched their first playoff win since 2017 when they beat Robert Morris. And then University of Delaware, just to wrap up University of Delaware forward and friend of the podcast, Caitlin Finnegan, she won the team's MVP and the Coaches Award this season. The Coaches Award, this is from the school. The Coaches Award is presented to the student athlete who best embodies our core values every single day, and they have since named the award the Caitlin Finnegan Coaches Award.
That's awesome.
So I thought that was a really cool thing, and I wanted to give Finny a shout out because remember her major was like leadership. I mean, we talked about her being a coach.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if she's a coach next year and goes to grad school or something back with them.
Well,
it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Kumi would probably snatch that right up, right? Because when we talked to Kumi, didn't she say she's like another coach?
And she said she's like not like very easily taught, like wants to learn. Sure. Yeah. So good on Finny. In the ECAC championship weekend, this is the coolest thing for me is that it's at Lake Placid. I just think this is so cool that all 4 teams go to it. You know what I mean? That's just neat.
Yep.
So Friday is the first games, 4 p.m. Again, staggered start times, so you can see both games. 4 p.m. Cornell at Yale, and then at 7 p.m. Quinnipiac at Princeton. All ECAC hockey first team. Princeton forward Izzy Wonder, Clarkson forward Sarah Manis, Quinnipiac friend of the podcast Kaylin LaMarche, Clarkson defenseman Kate Manis. I think she's younger. I could be wrong on that. I had a 50-50 shot. Yale, the sisters. Yale defenseman Molly Boyle and Quinnipiac goalie Felicia Frank. Frank was also named the ECAC goalie of the year. Molly Boyle from Yale was named Rookie of the Year for the Ivy League. And first-year Kennedy Walker scored her first NCAA goal in the Bulldogs 6-1 win over Union, which proved to be the game winner. So nice time to chip in for Walker there. And then Union, Megan Duplanty broke the program's rookie point record, and senior Stephanie Bork broke the Iron Woman streak. She played in game number 141 and has played in every game since she arrived on campus. So good on her. That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a nice little thing. And then Princeton Izzy Wonder was named the Player of the Year for the Ivy League. So I'm assuming that the Player of the Year for the Ivy League, and I should have asked you before we recorded, but you know how we roll, and Player of the Year for ECAC.
If I have the answer.
Yeah, those are 2 separate things, right? Could you win both?
So Player of the Year and what did you say?
If you won Player of the Year for Ivy, is there also a Player of the Year for ECAC, and could one player win both? Because not all of the ECAC is Ivy League.
Question?
No, I wasn't trying to trick you out.
No. I get it. Yes. The answer is yes.
Okay. You know me. It pops in my head and straight out my mouth. That's how
I'll put it on the mea culpa. If you know what I'm I'm always in my head thinking, I don't want to interrupt after I say something. And I'm like, that's
no, dude. Interrupt all you want. It's
your
your thing too. In the NUHA, the semifinals are as you're listening this tomorrow night. St. A's at Assumption is at 3, and then a staggered start time again, so you can see both. Stonehill at Franklin Pierce at 7 p.m. The championship game is on Saturday. Franklin Pierce dominated St. Mike's to get into the semis with a cumulative 13-1 over 2 games played. And St. A's swept Sacred Heart. Assumption beat Post, which was the only series in the playoffs that went to the full 3. And it was the first time in program history that Assumption has made the finals. And then Stonehill needed overtime in game 2 to get past LIU, and sophomore Sienna Spadone got the game-winning goal in overtime. And I probably butchered your name, and I apologize if that is.
I think it's okay. I think
you might have been
all right there. Yep.
I was more worried about the last name than the first name, to be honest with you.
And wait, so their championship, let's talk about, because we're talking a little bit about playoff formats and how everybody runs it, right? So their championship, so highest seed for the semis, right?
Yeah.
And then back to the highest seed probably for the championship. Okay.
Yeah. They're playing in Worcester is where the semis are. I think they're doing neutral site. It's at the
well,
DCU.
that's not what I said, though.
No, but there's still
I
the home
said-
team. It's just like
No,
the
but
ECA team.
they have a neutral site. But no, this is like Hockey East goes to the highest seed, the highest remaining seed for the championship.
Gotcha. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I
So
don't know
they're
if
in
that's
Worcester.
the case there. Because Assumption's
Okay.
in Worcester.
Yeah, but Stonehill's at Franklin Pierce, and then there's a championship on Saturday. Stay tuned, people. We'll figure it out.
But what I can tell you is Hockey East does not play series. It's all one and dones. And they play, as you're listening this evening, with both games at the exact same time for puck drop at 6 p.m. I'm sure there's a reason for it, but I'm unaware of it. Holy Cross is at UConn. UVM is at Northeastern, which is at Walter Brown. I don't want to upset Linda by talking about Matthews, so we will skip right over that. The first team All-Stars for Hockey East, we got Jules Constantinople from Northeastern, BC's Madeline Murphy, Northeastern's Captain Lily Shannon, BC Ava Thomas, and Northeastern's young phenom striker Sablocki. The all-rookie team also has BC's Murphy and Maxim Tremblay and Ava Thomas. So I'd say BC's looking pretty good as they head forward with those three. Holy Cross with Violet Carroll, who we talked about with Emily Crovo the other day. UNH Nina Rossi, and then striker Sablocki is also on the rookie team. UConn's goalie Tia Chan was named goaltender of the year. Vermont's Anna Podine awarded the Sportsmanship Award. Northeastern Constantinople was named Defender of the Year, and Zablocki wins the scoring title in Hockey East. Holy Cross got to host UNH in their first ever home Hockey East playoff game. They won 5-4, and BC's Emma Connor was named Best Defensive Forward. So there's your preliminaries and your quarterfinals, and we're all ready.
That was a nutso game. The Holy Cross UNH game was nuts.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, they pulled it was 5-2, right? So they pulled the goalie with like 4 or 5 minutes left, scored, then scored. And there was a lot of time when they got to 5-4. There was still a lot of time. I was like, oh God, are they going to do it? Like,
well, the same thing happened with Quinnipiac and Brown. They ended up going to 3 games, and Brown pulled their goalie and scored 2 also with the goalie out.
Yeah.
Crazy. That's why you got to watch these games. Although you can't go away at second intermission.
I know.
You want to save our complaints for do better, or what do you want to do?
I mean, you can save it or say it now.
We'll go to the Olympics. Yeah. We'll buzz through the Olympics. There's not a lot.
Okay.
Hillary Knight did a double dip on Saturday Night Live. She hopped on Weekend Update with Leslie Jones. She was roasting Colin Yost. And then again with Megan Keller and the Hughes brothers to once again make nice for the men's team who doesn't know how to say, I'm sorry. They made a joke out of it and continued to bail out the men's team. 6 U.S. Olympians won their second gold. Kayla Barnes, Kendall Coyne-Schofield, Megan Keller, Hillary Knight, Kelly Panic, and Lee Stecklein. And our friend Alina Mueller was nominated to be the flag bearer for Switzerland at the closing ceremony. And I think we talked about that, how the TV... No, that was something else. The TV
that was my do better.
That's right.
Yeah.
The TV,
from our last one, right?
Yeah, the TV barely showed her at the closing ceremony also, but I was able to freeze it so I could get Riley to come see. I'm like, look, there she is. She's really there. So, they did the same thing. And then this last one, there's a brewery in Minnesota called Fulton Brewing is honoring Kelly Panic with a new limited release called Been There, Won That Again. And it's described as a 2-time gold championship shandy.
That's awesome. I think they do other things. I think they've done something with the Frost before, or maybe Kelly in particular with some of her sponsorships, but I've seen that.
Isn't there a Frost player that's involved with the brewery? Is it her? Maybe it's her. We'll see you next time.
I got a lot of maybes today.
Hey, we're trying to get this in before the playoffs. P-Dub, the only thing I got from the P-Dub, because they just came back.
Thank you, Hockey East, by the way.
Right. Welcome back, Seattle. The set a new U.S. arena record with 17,335 on hand to watch Seattle lose to Toronto, actually 5-2. But it looked like just an unbelievable environment. Just welcome back. They wanted to make a big deal for the Olympians, and they just blew the roof off that place.
Do you think that I think that this was like a message too? Like Seattle's pretty progressive, right? So I feel like that was a like we're gonna show up for these women after everything that had been going on, right? Like and we talked about that with Digit, just that there's gonna be some good coming out of this.
Yeah,
I mean,
there has to be.
Seattle has had great attendance anyway, but that was like sort of that sort of explanation point on I think some of that the result in the good way that we talked about.
Agreed. All right. We're at the do better time, buddy. And I
have lots of information for this one.
I'll go first then, since you're ready with your backups. So when I say do better, I'm looking in one direction, and it's Hockey East. Because as a kid growing up in the greater Boston area, and Linda will attest to this, I only knew about Hockey East. I didn't know there was other leagues. And then we start talking about all these other leagues, and I had to find out what they were and learn about them. And I'm getting there. I'm getting better. But I still am a Hockey East guy, right? That's my go-to. I can drive to most of the rinks fairly easily outside of Maine. But I'm sorry. As much as I love you, Hockey East, you gotta up your game, because you're the only conference that doesn't do a best of. It's all one and dones, which is horrible. Give me a best of 3 like these other schools do. That's so much more enjoyable. And then let's talk about the start times. This refusal to not let me and Linda have a day driving around in the truck going to all the games by having...
Besides the fact that I live 600 miles away from you to begin with.
That's irrelevant to this point, Linda. I'd pick you up at the airport. By having great. An hour apart is okay, I guess, because you're going to be able to watch in between periods. But make them like the other schools are doing, 2-3 hours, so you can really get the feel of a game and go to these games. What's driving these games is attendance and people getting involved and invested and learning about the games and getting the feel of the games, getting to know the players and seeing how the players perform. So why don't you make it more available as less available, right? And then that leads me to my final point, which is this Mickey Mouse Hockey East brought to you. What's it say? ESPN brought to you by Hockey East. Look, Hockey East, if you're going to slap your name on it, then make sure it's a good production, right? Holy Cross didn't have audio for the first, I think, 3/4 of the first period.
Yeah.
There was glitches in was it Northeastern game where it kept going black?
The Northeastern game. Yep.
It kept going black where and you can't go black for 20 seconds in a hockey game and not miss something.
It's like, in double overtime.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There was all kinds of issues with the penalty, like power play minutes weren't being put up right. They weren't being put up at all in some cases. And I get it. It's kids, college kids doing the cameras. So it's going to be a little shakiness. But maybe if Hockey East, if you're going to put your name on this and basically promote it, maybe help with the infrastructure, maybe put a cameraman there and show these kids how to do it and give them some guidance.
First of all, you're giving them too much credit to say or an out by saying that's college kids doing the camera. I mean, I know for a while Northeastern has had the upper echelon of video, right? Their video production team, they decided to invest in it and they had a whole crew and they only did that for all the sports, right? And it was it was known to Hockey East, at least, and many people, that it was the best broadcast to watch.
Which is the one I watch the least, because I go to those games.
Right. But I guess my point in saying that, just about we know you have students, most of them have a video crew now, right? Like, this streaming thing isn't new. Getting it out on ESPN and the visibility, it's not new. There isn't we picked, Jill Smith off the street,
right,
and said, come work this camera on the tripod. Sometimes it looks like that at BU, but
looks like that a lot of ways.
Yeah, a lot of rinks. I mean, I'll go back to Cornell. We're watching Cornell, and my son walks by and he's like, "Why are the lights off in that
Yeah.
rink? It's so dark." I mean, that's just a really closed rink anyways. And really, like when I went to the Duluth game there last year, I was like, God, I forgot about this rink. Like it's just, but you can't see. It looks
But
gray.
but like the Princeton rink is like one of the oldest rinks, and that was unbelievable, the coverage for
Yeah, but
Princeton.
yeah, maybe it has something to do with lighting. Anyway, let's go back to your Hockey East problem with the
Okay.
playoff format for a second. I was able to speak for quite a bit today with Hockey East Commissioner Steve Metcalf. So I asked him these questions. Can you talk to me about the rationale of having a single elimination
But I got to talk Brownie
playoff
off the
format?
ledge at some point over this. So could
Yeah.
you please give
Yeah.
me some
Well,
ammo?
it makes it a conversation. So, and I was trying to think back to, at one point, I think we got into the 2 out of 3. It hasn't been that long that it's been single elimination. I think it's gone back and forth.
Okay.
Here's what he said. Okay. It used to be teams 1 through 8. And when the league expanded, they wanted to include everybody. So that was one part of the structure of teams 1 through 10 make the tournament, right? But you're adding games.
Yep.
So now it's a playoff for everyone. Everybody makes the playoff. Everybody has a chance to play, like student opportunity, student athlete opportunity. I remember them talking about that way back in the day. So good on me for remembering that. So single elimination and everyone's in, right? The disadvantages of 2 out of 3, and they are good points again, right? There's a whole process that went into this. It's not like they just said, hey, 2 out of 3 is too hard. And there's a lot of building conflicts with these teams too. And some of these other teams have their own rink in the other leagues. And these Hockey East teams are doubled up a lot of the time. And ECAC is too. But some of the sort of pros and cons, and the cons of a 2 out of 3 is it can reduce the wear and tear by doing single elimination, and that the tournament format is single elimination. So you're preparing yourself for a
You're talking about the NCAA. Yep.
Yeah. So by having a single elimination for format, that's what you're going to be faced when you go to the tournament. So that was another point. By scheduling it the way they do with the playing games and then moving into the quarterfinals, 6 out of the 10 teams get a home playoff game. So the way they do it and move everybody over to quarters, you can guarantee that 6 out of 10 teams get to play home playoffs. And then the math for the NCAA tournament. Let's look at Duluth and Mankato. Let's go out of Hockey East to look at that. Duluth just lost to Mankato twice. I didn't check the rankings today, but they were 9. I mean, I'm sure they dropped to at least 11. And when we're going back and talking about those auto bids being taken by the higher seeds, it starts to creep out, and maybe Duluth gets in. But they just lost two games to an unranked team. So it can hurt you too in the math of the NPI and your losses if you lose once to an unranked team or twice to an unranked team. And in that case, I just like to use that tournament as a example, or that series as an example, because Duluth won Friday night. So they could have been done. They could have just won Friday night and been done. And they Mankato had a hot goalie riding Saturday and Sunday. So
Minnesota Duluth is 10 right now. Yeah,
so they dropped 1, but it's just, that's even 1 spot further away. It's 11 spots, right?
Yep.
So I mean, hope for the best. I'm sure they're practicing this week because you just got to do it. But you didn't even get out of your conference quarters. So it's just a really tough climate to be in for that. So those were some of the things that Steve shared with me that I thought were...
They're valid points. I don't have to agree with it, but they're valid.
Then the next question I asked him, because I always think that it would be nice to be able to plan better, is the championship. So we were talking about, I think it was AHA, and where do they play their championship? Because what Hockey East does is it's at the highest remaining seed. So when the semifinals shake out, whoever's the high, So, and for Northeastern, they don't even know where that's going to be. That's not automatically Walter Brown. So they're going through that. Yeah. But, so I think that's challenging because I think you'd like to promote the championship, right? Like you'd like to drum up some interest and say 2 weeks ahead of time that the Hockey East Championship's going to be at Walter Brown or at Merritt, and decide ahead of time. What he said to that was, when you look at the attendance across the board, there isn't anybody that's drawing in, an automatic following of 2,000 fans that you can be like, that's a great hockey market, no doubt. And you get the opportunity by putting it at the highest remaining seed to get the home crowd excitement around the potential to win a championship.
I agree. So I understand what Steve's saying. I think he's a reasonable dude. Excuse me.
Steve, I hope I did that justice, by the way.
No, I think you did. You went over all the
Yeah.
points we talked about before we
Yeah.
started recording. But my thing is, I like the quarterfinals, like the way the ECAC does it. Singles, best of 3 singles. I think that is something that could be looked at. And I understand what you're saying about the neutral site, the home of the lower seed, the number 1 seed or whatever remainer. I get that, but just the whole idea of going to Lake Placid for a weekend, 4 teams, that's sick, right? That's how I'm looking at it, more than from I understand he's got to weigh in. Excuse me, tickets and the schools and the support and all that. I get all that. I'm looking at it strictly from the hockey aesthetic. I want to have a best of 3 because I love when it gets like, that extra little bit at the third game. And like that Brown Quinnipiac game, that third game was unbelievable. And I also like the fact, like, you get to earn your way to go to Lake Placid,
Yeah.
And that stinks. And I'm sure there's a way logistically to make it so like students can go and support the team and, ride shares, buses, the whole thing. I don't know. I mean,
well, I guess if you're in Lake Placid, as an example, the home team's going to go no matter what, right? Like not the home team, but the teams that are in it are going to go.
Yeah.
No matter, like, it doesn't have to be at St. Lawrence or at Clarkson or at, if your team's playing in that, you're probably making the trip up to Lake Placid. And being an East Coast league, Hockey East or ECAC, that location, it's not, you can't fly there, but you can fly to Albany and drive there, but most East Coast people can just drive there in 5 hours, right? So,
right.
But anyway, those are the rundown of why they use that playoff format. It all has teeth. It all, kind of, it's not like they just say, we don't want these. And the other piece that he mentioned also about, because I asked why it moved to Tuesday, it used to be Wednesday, Saturday, and why it moved to Tuesday. And he said, because of the basketball conflict. So don't forget, not just the men's hockey team, but many of these facilities are multi-sport. And the basketball conflicts on the Wednesdays really causes an issue for, like, if one of the 2 games has a conflict on that day. And basketball is Wednesday and Saturday usually.
Did he say anything about the start times?
No, but he said something to me about the ESPN contract being linear, and I'm not going to pretend I remember what that is, or we didn't go into it. So I think that has something to do with it, but I'm gonna mea culpa that too. So mea culpa is going to be long next episode.
Maybe we should get Mary working on TD Garden to see if they could host the Hockey East Championship for the women's.
Yeah, sounds exhausting to me.
If you're only listening, the deep breath and the look of paleness that washed over Linda's face is worth going on YouTube just to see that.
Yeah, I was literally making an appointment for my daughter for a doctor's appointment on March 20th. And that's Friday, a Final Four weekend, Frozen Four weekend. And I was thinking, is this a good idea to make a doctor's appointment on this day when I could be in State College?
Wouldn't that be?
I might not be here. So I don't know. That's how I make my schedule. So
didn't you have a do better or no? Or
my do better was the glitches with the ESPN.
Glitches, yeah.
So I did share with Steve, by the way, about, he did not know about the Holy Cross issue.
See, that to me is unforgivable. They need to have a quality control. Like, if I have 25 people working for me on a job site and the dumbest one drops paintbrush on the homeowner's carpet, that's on me. I'm still responsible for it. So every single production, they should be quality control, right?
Yeah.
You would think.
You might have a future, maybe a job in, broadcasting or
Logistics
I
and
think.
just being that guy who kicks chairs.
Yeah. So he didn't know about that. So he was like, "Oh, I'm going to check into that." And I said, eventually they realized it enough to let people know because we were going crazy. I was like, I'm folding laundry and I have this on. I can't fold laundry and watch this without sound.
Right,
So,
right.
but he didn't know about that. And then I mentioned about the ESPN and he said he heard there were some glitches. And I was like, "Are you sure you really know what the glitches are?" So the screen went black.
Listen,
And
for
you'd
those
have to
that
go out
didn't
of the
watch the
app.
game, we're not talking about 2 or 3 times. I counted it over 15 times it happened during the game.
Oh, I would have said more than that if you asked, because
Well, I don't know
and
when I
then
started
double
counting.
overtime
Yeah.
and it goes black and you had to
Yeah.
go out of the app. And I thought it was my Fire Stick. I was like, "Oh, my Fire Stick, this thing is ridiculous." And I was like, "Do I need to re-download the app?" And then I talked to my friend in Florida who was like, "Yeah, it keeps going black for me too. I thought it was my streaming down here." Nope. So go black. You got to go out of the app completely and then go back into the game. And then it was a wish and a prayer if it would really come back on. Sometimes it would sit there. Sometimes it would go black again. And I was like, "This is
So you were watching
ridiculous."
live and you were having that trouble. I was watching on delay because I watched the Holy Cross game because thank you, Hockey East, for not staggering the games enough that I could watch both games in their entirety. So I watched the Holy Cross game and then I went to the Northeastern game and watched it on demand. Even in the on demand, it was still doing that. And in the on demand, you could fast forward, but
Yeah.
you would fast forward too far, and then there was a goal. Then you got to it was brutal, absolutely brutal to
That's
go.
what I was going to say. So if I went into the on demand and ESPN, it would probably have black screens throughout.
Yeah, he could probably go watch it right now.
But the only thing is that like the black screen, if I sat there, would it come back?
I don't know because I didn't sit there. I fast forwarded.
No, I went out and back in
No.
every
Yeah,
single
if you
time.
sat there, I
Yeah.
don't know in real time. But
Yeah.
hey, Steve, if you're listening to this, go on the on demand on ESPN. You can see the black
He
glitches
knows.
on the Northeastern game, and you can probably hear
Yeah.
no audio for the beginning of the Holy Cross game. And
He knows
Steve, I
that.
do like you. I don't mean to yell at you, but it's just frustrating. I just want what's best for the
Before we
hockey.
move on to random, I have something.
Go ahead.
Next roundup. We're gonna cover. I want to give this prop out now.
Oh yeah.
Next weekly roundup, we're gonna cover U Sports.
Yep.
So that's gonna take me doing a lot of footwork and research. I wanna
And the U
talk to the
Sports
people.
are. Could you call that the Canadian version of the NCAA?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Yep. And they have so many teams and so much going on in their championship weekend is the 19th to the 22nd. So same as the NCAA. But I believe they just started their playoff series, which I think I saw was 3 out of 5, by the way.
Yep.
It's not helping hockey's cause right now with Brownie.
I'll take 3-game series. They do 5. My smokes.
5 is like, that sounds so tiring.
You think they do 2-2-1?
I don't know.
Or 2-3-1?
This is where I want to give U Sports some love next episode.
1-3-1 it would be, not 2-3. Yeah. No, that's great. You guys all heard it. That's Linda making a verbal binding contract right there.
Oh gosh.
All right, the last couple of things, random. This is for you, Linda. The WNBA hit the revenue benchmark in 2025 that triggered an $8 million payout to the athletes. So good to see that they have something set up that is like an automatic lever, it sounds like, that gets them some.
Oh, they got all kinds of payout problems, though.
That's good, though.
This isn't a basketball podcast, but I don't know. You listen to a touch more with Super.
I will say this is the
second
basketball thing I've brought up in like 3 weeks. So
I love it.
There you go. And then this last one. ESPN announced the launch of Women's Sports Sundays, a weekly primetime franchise putting women's sports at the center of the sports calendar. It'll debut this summer and replace Sunday Night Baseball. They didn't say anything if there were going to be glitches or no audio, so we'll have to wait and see for that.
Well, so the question remains in this whole thing is, was it a BU thing or was it an ESPN thing? Because remember we had the problems with the Beanpot? Well, you were there, right?
Yeah, but you were telling me, yeah.
Yeah, but there was problems with the bean pot, and they were switching the cameras, and they were going through the netting, and I was like, "Is this Live Barn? What the hell is going on? Like,
Yeah.
it might as well be Live Barn." And Steve did confirm that one of their pieces of equipment had malfunctioned during that game, so they had to pivot and they were switching things around. But again, I'd be curious to know if the root cause of the issues were ESPN related or school related.
But my point is, Steve doesn't know. The schools don't know. ESPN doesn't know. It's like no one's paying
Well, they
attention.
knew about the Northeastern game and the issues with that, but they didn't know about the sound.
Right, but there's no one monitoring. Like, let me ask you this, and I know your answer, but at the men's Hockey East games, is this happening? No, it's not. And you love both your children equally. Treat them as such. That's it. So this was a quick one. Wow. That's good. We got a nice quick one. We buzzed through.
Yeah.
Now Linda can go do bedtime with the kids. I can go do bath time with mine, and then we can move on our days, or our nights, I should say, and get this out. This is the hardest part. We can get this out tomorrow, which will be Tuesday, ahead of the Hockey East games. Talking time traveling. That's what we're doing, Linda. We're time travelers. Yep. So that's all we got. Please like, subscribe, share, tell 100 of your closest friends. Get all worked up listening to Digit, and then you can come listen to us and watch some great hockey games, hopefully without any issues. And
I don't know, our Digit thing might be a series, because
she's awesome.
I listened to it twice, and I was like, I have more questions. I have more to talk about. This is.
I will say, what do we say? We're 32 episodes in. The Digit Murphy, the episode featuring Digit Murphy is the first and only time Lori has listened to the podcast. So there you go.
Lori is Brownie's wife, for the listeners.
Yes, yeah. Digit puts him in the seats.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. We'll see you after the weekend playoffs. We'll have some more interviews mixed in, and just go watch women's sports. That was it. That's all I got.
Bye-bye.